The renowned Stoic philosopher Epictetus once conveyed, "Ensure that you associate with individuals who elevate you and evoke your finest qualities with their presence." You may be familiar with the adage, "You become the average of those you spend the most time with." Today, we'll delve into this concept from a Stoic perspective. We'll delve into the 7 archetypes of individuals who could obstruct your Stoic journey and discuss strategies to navigate these intricate associations. Before we get started, I'd kindly request your support by giving this video a thumbs up to aid in furthering the reach of Stoic philosophy. If you haven't already subscribed, I encourage you to do so and ring the notification bell to ensure you never miss any of our future content. Type of people number 1, the person who complains. All of us know someone, be it a friend, a family member, or a colleague, who appears to discover flaws in everything. Whether it's the climate, their occupation, or even the cuisine at a renowned eatery, they consistently seize every chance to voice their discontent. You might be wondering why this matters to you. You could simply choose to disregard them, but that's not as simple as it sounds. Prolonged exposure to such negativity can have a detrimental impact on your mental well-being. It's similar to a constant drip from a leaky faucet, slowly draining your emotional energy reserves. Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus from dwelling on problems to seeking actionable solutions. For instance, picture a scenario where you're collaborating with a perpetual complainer on a project. Every meeting becomes an exhausting session of grievances without any constructive discussion. The result is a decline in the team's morale, a diversion from finding practical solutions, and an increasing disillusionment with both the project and life in general. How can Stoicism assist us in handling a person who frequently complains? There exist several approaches you can adopt. Firstly, attempt to minimize your interaction with this individual whenever feasible. If such avoidance isn't possible, as may be the case with family members or colleagues, your second option is to mentally distance yourself during their tirades. Visualize their complaints as a passing tempest, boisterous and unsettling, yet ultimately transient and powerless in the face of the unshakable mountain that is your inner tranquility. A third option is to guide the conversation towards solutions or redirect it to a more constructive topic. As Marcus Aurelius once stated, "You have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will discover strength." This enduring Stoic wisdom urges us to diligently protect our mental serenity, ensuring that the negativity from chronic complainers does not divert us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Type of people number 2, the drama attractor. Picture yourself steering your life as if it were a ship sailing through tranquil seas, when suddenly you come across the whirlpool referred to as the drama attractor. This person appears to have a continuous stream of dilemmas, disputes. Much like a whirlpool, they possess a disconcerting capacity to draw you into their tumultuous vortex. Initially, you might be drawn to the drama attractor's vivacity, possibly mistaking it for enthusiasm or thrill. Nevertheless, you'll quickly come to understand that staying within their orbit is akin to guiding a ship through a tempest, both draining and perilous. Dealing with drama attractors becomes challenging because their crises tend to become intertwined with your own. Their tumultuous energy is contagious, and you may inadvertently become entangled in conflicts that were initially not your concern. For instance, imagine you have a friend who frequently clashes with others in your social circle. They're on bad terms with Sarah today, and tomorrow it's Tom. Your friend seeks your advice, but you start to realize that this cycle is never ending. Before you know it, you too find yourself in conflict with Sarah or Tom, simply because you attempted to mediate the situation. In this scenario, consider implementing the technique of reflective listening. Rather than providing advice or taking sides, reflect their words back to them. For instance, if they express, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you can respond by acknowledging their feelings with, "So you're experiencing a sense of betrayal due to Sarah's words." This approach enables you to offer emotional support without becoming entangled in the situation. Alternatively, you can adopt a somewhat counterintuitive approach by selectively limiting your availability. Embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, which underscores the importance of valuing your time, there are times when it's necessary to be less accessible during other people's recurring crises that lack resolution. This might involve switching off your phone during specific hours, creating focused periods for your work or personal development, and making it clear that you should not be disturbed during these times. To paraphrase Seneca, true happiness lies in savoring the present without excessive worry about the future. This perspective can prove particularly valuable when dealing with individuals who seem to attract drama. Instead of fretting about the next crisis, concentrate on the present moment where you have control. Revel in your life and refuse to let someone else's drama disrupt it. Ensure that you steer your ship calmly, avoiding the turbulence that might hinder your journey toward personal growth and tranquility. Type of people number 3, the skeptic. Imagine this scenario. You're an artist meticulously applying brushstrokes to a canvas, infusing it with color, depth, and vitality, bringing your artistic vision to life. Then here comes the naysayer, strolling into your studio, casting a fleeting glance at your work, and promptly launching into a critique. Are you absolutely certain about that choice of color? It doesn't appear very lifelike. You're aware, most artists rarely succeed, right? Their words, akin to drab grey brushstrokes, gradually erode the vibrancy of your canvas. This isn't the constructive criticism that can be genuinely helpful. Instead, it's an unrelenting cloud of doubt and pessimism. For instance, consider you're enthused about embarking on a new career path. You've conducted extensive research, sought advice from industry professionals, and perhaps even completed preliminary courses. When you excitedly share your plans with the naysayer, they swiftly enumerate all the reasons it's destined to fail. The job market is excessively competitive. Do you even possess the requisite skills? What if you encounter setbacks? Before long, their skepticism begins to permeate your thoughts, causing your once unshakable vision to waver. Now, when confronted with a naysayer, especially if it's someone close to you, consider an unconventional yet effective approach. Seek their advice rather than simply sharing your plans or dreams. By placing them in an advisory role, they are less inclined to immediately criticize your ideas and might provide more constructive feedback. Another tactic involves a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of internalizing their negativity, challenge them to think of solutions. For instance, if they declare, "You'll never be able to switch careers at this stage," respond with an intriguing question. How do you believe someone could successfully transition to a new career at this point? This not only deflects negativity, but also encourages a more productive and positive conversation. Recall the wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening doesn't entail absorbing all negativity. It involves differentiating between valuable insights and mere noise. When naysayers attempt to obscure your canvas with shades of doubt, step back, listen, contemplate, and continue painting your life with the colors that resonate with you. Don't permit anyone to transform your vibrant masterpiece into a drab, gray landscape. Type of people number 4, the person who was harmed. Consider life as a game of chess where both players start with identical pieces and share the same objective: to checkmate the opponent's king. It involves strategic thinking, occasional sacrifices, and calculated risks. On the flip side, some individuals tend to attribute their poor moves to external factors, such as the board, the pieces, or even their opponent. They see themselves as constantly trapped in checkmate, not due to their own choices, but because of external forces working against them. They construct an ongoing narrative of misfortune, portraying themselves as the helpless protagonist. They might say, "I can't advance in my career because my boss has a bias against me," or "I can't achieve fitness because I have unfavorable genetics." It's essential to acknowledge that certain individuals indeed confront real challenges and systemic problems. Nevertheless, the individual we're addressing leverages their predicament as an ongoing justification, avoiding any accountability for their deeds or inaction. You might discover yourself ensnared in their narrative, possibly in the role of the dependable supporter frequently tasked with coming to their rescue. Imagine spending countless hours listening to a friend attributing all their unsuccessful relationships solely to their former partners. Not only does this consume your time, but it may also inadvertently prompt you to embrace a comparable victim mentality in your own life. So, how do you approach a person in a difficult situation? It's easy to feel compelled to be their savior, offering constant advice and emotional support. However, the Stoics would advise caution against this approach. They would suggest establishing clear boundaries to safeguard your own mental well-being. Consider practicing compassionate detachment. Show empathy and kindness, but avoid trying to rescue them from challenges they must face on their own. Be a sympathetic listener, but avoid becoming their perpetual problem solver. As Marcus Aurelius once noted, the best revenge is to be unlike the one who committed the wrong. If you discover yourself getting entangled in the victim's narrative, resist the temptation to become one yourself. Take charge of your own life, make your choices, and remember that in the chess game of life, constantly being in checkmate is often a matter of choice, not destiny. Keep moving your pieces forward. Be willing to make strategic sacrifices when necessary, and play for growth and wisdom rather than seeking revenge or pity. Type of people number 5, the overly optimistic person with harmful tendencies. You're familiar with that individual, the one who consistently radiates positivity, using an abundance of emojis and showering you with sunshine and rainbows. They're the type to advise you to stay happy even when you're facing challenging times, casually disregarding your emotions and experiences with a carefree optimism. Picture your life as a garden. Yes, there are certainly beautiful flowers, but there are also weeds and pests. However, a toxic optimist insists on turning a blind eye to anything that doesn't resemble a fully blossomed rose. Have some aphids infested your leaves? Their advice would be to fixate solely on the flowers and keep negativity out of your garden. While their approach may seem uplifting, it can leave you feeling invalidated and disconnected from reality. Imagine you're going through a difficult breakup, experiencing sadness and confusion as you seek emotional balance. Now consider the advice from someone who excessively emphasizes positivity, saying, "There are plenty of other opportunities. Just put on a smile and be happy." This form of overzealous optimism fails to acknowledge the intricacies of human emotions and the real challenges we face in life. So, how can you nurture your emotional well-being without allowing these overly positive individuals to overshadow it with their indiscriminate shower of good vibes only? One effective approach is to initiate a conversation that embraces both the positive and negative aspects of the situation. For instance, if they suggest, "Look at the bright side, at least you have your health," you could respond, "I'm indeed grateful for my health, but it's also perfectly acceptable for me to feel upset about this particular issue. Both emotions can coexist." You can also make use of a concept known to psychologists as emotional granularity, which refers to your capacity to experience and distinguish among a wide array of emotions, both positive and negative. When someone with a toxic focus on positivity urges you to just be happy, take a moment to recognize and label your complex emotions. Saying something like, "I'm experiencing a touch of melancholy today because of X, and that's perfectly fine," can serve as an empowering affirmation. In line with Stoic philosophy, Seneca once remarked, "Take note of the equilibrium, understanding your responsibilities, which are not always pleasant, and savoring the present moment." A Stoic perspective isn't about fixating on either the positive or the negative. It's about embracing the intricacies of life with composure. Whenever the toxic optimist scatters their positivity onto your meticulously cultivated garden, pause for a moment. Recognize that a garden thrives when it experiences both sunlight and rain. Embrace your complete range of emotions and continue tending to your garden with the depth and intricacy it warrants. Type of people number 6, the individual who manipulates. Imagine your life as a screenplay. You are the protagonist, equipped with a vision of how your tale should unfold, including the pivotal twists, your dependable allies and mentors, and the grand finale. Suddenly, a cunning puppeteer emerges, the elusive orchestrator who subtly revises your script without your awareness, until one day you discover that your narrative has strayed from its intended course. This manipulator excels in the delicate art of emotional and psychological manipulation. They may employ flattery, manipulative guilt, or even deception to nudge you in a direction that serves their interests. You might have a companion who consistently persuades you to cover the dinner bill with phrases like, "I've been facing a tough month, and you're so successful. It wouldn't make a significant difference to you, but it would brighten my day." Over time, you realize that your generosity has been exploited, yet confronting them feels uncomfortable because they've artfully framed it as a favor to a friend in need. Dealing with a manipulative individual can be a delicate endeavor. One effective strategy for countering their tactics is what some experts refer to as fogging. This technique entails acknowledging the valid aspects of the manipulator's statements while remaining steadfast against emotional pressure. For instance, if they suggest, "You're so successful, you should cover dinner," you might reply, "You're correct in noting my recent successes, but let's continue splitting the bill as we usually do." Another viable approach involves establishing and upholding clear boundaries. When confronted with a manipulator's requests for financial assistance or uncomfortable tasks, practice assertive refusal. Maintain a composed tone and express your boundaries explicitly, such as saying, "I cannot lend money, but I'm always here to provide emotional support," which delineates your limits while preserving the friendship. Inspired by Stoic philosophy, Epictetus cautioned us that although we cannot control our external circumstances, we always retain the power to determine our responses. Manipulators thrive on your expected reactions, exploiting your kindness, guilt, or desire for approval. By opting for a different response, you regain control of your own narrative. If you discover a manipulator in your midst, remember that you hold the pen. Your life story is yours to compose, and while various characters may play their roles, the central character's journey, your journey, must consistently align with your values and choices. Seize your narrative and refuse to let anyone manipulate the storyline of your life. Type of people number 7, the time-draining entity. Picture your daily routine as a meticulously arranged orchestra performance. Each instrument symbolizes a task or commitment, and when they come together, they form a pleasing balance. However, there's a disruptor, the time vampire, who joins the ensemble, playing out of tune, overpowering your melody, and transforming your elegant composition into dissonance. The time vampire isn't necessarily malicious. In fact, they may appear quite harmless. It could be a co-worker who frequently interrupts you with trivial inquiries, shattering your productive workday into a series of disjointed moments. Or it might be a friend who invites you to numerous social gatherings that don't interest you, leaving you feeling obliged to participate and depleting your time and energy. While these interactions may seem inconsequential at the time, their cumulative impact can be significantly disruptive. How can you safeguard your symphony from being disrupted by a time vampire? One effective approach is to embrace the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that involves dividing your work into intervals, typically lasting 25 minutes, with short breaks in between. During these intervals, establish clear boundaries to prevent interruptions. This defense shields your most productive periods from erosion. If you encounter a social time vampire, remember that it's not only acceptable, but also essential to say no. Instead of offering elaborate excuses, a simple response such as, "I appreciate the invitation, but I can't make it," suffices. Rejecting an invitation doesn't imply a rejection of the person. It's an affirmation of your own needs and priorities. As Seneca wisely noted, life, if well lived, is long enough. Stoicism reminds us that time is one of our most valuable resources and should be allocated judiciously. It serves as the canvas upon which we craft the portrait of our lives, and we should be highly selective about who and what gets a stroke of our brush. In the grand composition of your life, ensure that every note, instrument, and melody align with your greater purpose. Don't allow the disruptive intrusion of a time vampire to throw your symphony into disarray. Hold the baton firmly and conduct your life with purpose, ensuring that every moment contributes to the harmonious masterpiece you're creating. As we conclude today's exploration into the characters that can hinder our journey towards Stoic resilience and wisdom, it's crucial to remember the importance of self-awareness. Identifying these character types in others is relatively straightforward, but the more demanding yet enlightening task is to introspect and determine if you unintentionally embody one of these roles in someone else's life. Stoicism isn't merely about navigating the world, it's also about comprehending and enhancing ourselves. If today's discussion has triggered a realization, an epiphany, or even a moment of self-reflection, please share your thoughts in the comments section. Let's engage in a conversation that enriches us all. So until next time, may your choices align with your virtues, may your actions mirror your wisdom, and may your life evolve into the masterpiece you're destined to create.